bilateral relation between the two countries, it is our privilege to have a special person with us today, Ambassador of Turkey to Bangladesh, His Excellency Mustafa Osman TURAN. We are grateful for your presence. We hope that during the course of today's event, we will hear more thoughtful insights from him about the Turkey and Bangladesh relation. We also thank respected guests present here with us today. There will be a question answer session in today's event where our guests can directly participate in the discussion session with the ambassador. Our event is also being live streamed on Facebook and YouTube, and we are also tweeting the updates. So we are also thanking the online audience for joining with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to welcome on the podium Dr. Manjura Choudhury sir, Chairman, Center for Governance Studies, and also the Chairman of National River Conservation Commission, to share his opening remarks with us. Sir.
Thank you. His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Osman TURAN, Honorable Ambassador of Turkey to Bangladesh, distinguished guests, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. This is the 5th episode of Meet the Ambassador program. As you know, this program was initiated by the Center for Governance Studies in collaboration with Friedrich-Ebert-Stiftung, commonly known as FES, a German organization. In this program, the foreign diplomats exchange ideas, views, information with cross-section of people from this country. It is actually a people-to-people diplomacy. In this episode, we warmly welcome His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Osman TURAN, Honorable Ambassador from Turkey to Bangladesh. Bangladesh-Turkey relationship is long. It goes back to the 16th century when we lived under the Mughal empire, Mughal rule. Mughals are not Persians. They are actually a Turkish, Chuktai Turkish dynasty. In this country, there are so many Turkish words. Some of these words have already become our own Bangla word. In fact, in the Mughal court, the language was Farsi, but inside the Janana Mahal, the language was Chuktai Turki. As a result, we still have a lot of Turkish dishes. When in the special occasions we cook korma, kupta, even coffee. Coffee is a Turkish word. Even during the last century, when Turkey was attacked during the Balkan War with 3 European countries, thousands of Bengali Muslims flocked to Turkey to defend the Khilafat. Even during the 1920s, when Mustafa Kemal Pasha was fighting against the European forces to defend his motherland, thousands of Bengali Muslims, even from India, trekked to Turkey across all this, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, to fight alongside our Turkish brother to defend the Khilafat again. Our national poet, Qazi Nazrul Islam, he used to think that he was a young Turk. He wrote a poem, Mustafa Kemal Pasha. Kemal Pasha Mustafa, it's a very famous poem. Your Excellency, that's why Mustafa is such a popular name in this country. The relationship between these two great
FES Bangladesh, Mr. Sadhun Kumar Das, to share his thoughts with us.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is my best honor to be here with these highly dignitaries and luminaries, and also like His Excellency. I hope you are all in good health and mind. We are collaborating with Center for Governance Studies to organize this Meet the Ambassador events, as you have already been informed. You may know about us, that means FES and its works. Even though I will highlight a bit about us, many of you, like as you are also joining this Meet the Ambassador in the last 4 events, so I think you know us, but still, like those who are new to this event and also His Excellency, for him I am talking about a bit about FES. FES is a German political foundation. The foundation owes its formation and its mission to the political legacy of its namesake Friedrich-Ebert, the first democratically elected German president. The work of our political foundation focuses on the core ideas and values of social democracy: freedom, justice, and solidarity. In keeping with the organization's global mission and in close collaboration with national partners, FES in Bangladesh promotes social dialogues, programs, and facilitates trust building and constructive working relations between social partners in the country. The organization also facilitates policy dialogues and supports distinguished scholars from the country to advocate on a global platform. It has been working through partnership approach in Bangladesh since its inception in 2014, and Center for Governance Studies is one of our interested partners. Now I will highlight a bit about the context of this Meet the Ambassador event, the program logic maybe. Asia has been taking center stage for global struggles, and also in recent years this is becoming a hot topic in the public and global spheres. The geopolitics and geoeconomics of Asia have many dimensions. They produce complex patterns of competition, conflict, cooperation, and integration and disintegration, which are all unfolding at the same time. The countries, including Bangladesh, in the region either play proactive roles in the global games or being influenced by others' games. Bangladesh's geostrategic importance has increased significantly for the China-Indian rivalry in South Asia and the United States-China contestation in the Indian Ocean region. The recent mass exodus of Rohingya people from Myanmar to Bangladesh has not only become an issue of repatriation but also issue of security, terrorism, and drug peddling in the region. It goes beyond these two borders. But who is getting what? What's the cost of the geostrategic relations and rivalries? FES Bangladesh engages national and international experts to find out responses to the above questions and provides a platform, methodological framework, and toolkit for stakeholders to analyze major internal and external dynamics and to develop strategic options to shape up the national, regional, and global development paths of geopolitics. As part of it, Meet the Ambassador events are designed to create a platform where political leaders and activists, diplomats, academics, businesses, experts, professionals, and media can exchange views and opinions on bilateral issues and future strategies for the development of Bangladesh. And as our earlier speakers informed, that this is the 5th and the final event for this year. We are so much delighted that our previous 4 events have received huge media attention, which has helped us to disseminate the key messages and contents of our conversations with the honorable ambassadors. This has brought a great applause by the concerned audience, including policy stakeholders. We hope we will also get the same media coverage on today's dialogues. We are paying our heartiest gratitude to the journalists and crews of these media outlets. Here a good number of honorable dignitaries and luminaries are present to exchange their views with His Excellency. We are thankful for your time and valuable contribution to this event. It's always precious to listen to you, and it would become more precious when the content of the discussion will highlight the key area of the bilateral relations between Bangladesh and Turkey. We trust our most respected moderator, Mr. Zillur Rahman, will guide the audience in this direction. We are always grateful to Mr. Rahman and his organization for this great idea of arranging this Meet the Ambassador and ensuring the quality participation of the audience. Today we are honored and so much glad that His Excellency Mr. MUSTAFA Osman TURAN, Ambassador of Turkey to Bangladesh, has kindly joined with us to exchange his views on Bangladesh-Turkey relations and to respond questions of the audience. Turkey recognized Bangladesh in February 1974, shortly after the independence of Bangladesh, and the Turkish embassy in Dhaka was opened in 1976, while the embassy of Bangladesh in Ankara was inaugurated in 1981. Now I will highlight a bit about the economic and trade relations between these two countries. Like in 2020, Bangladesh exported $547 million to Turkey. The main products that Bangladesh exported to Turkey are jute, yarn, non-kit men's suits, and knit t-shirts. During the last 25 years, the exports of Bangladesh to Turkey have increased at an annualized rate of 13.8% from 21.6 million in 1995 to 547 million in 2020. In the same year, Turkey exported $341 million to Bangladesh. The main products that Turkey exported to Bangladesh were heavy pure woven cotton, textile processing machines, and heavy mixed woven cotton. During the last 25 years, the exports of Turkey.
Request Mr. Zillur Rahman to take the role of moderating the upcoming sessions. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, namaskar, and very good morning. As you all know that Turkey and Bangladesh maintains strong bilateral relations, which is strengthening day by day. Turkey has been a supportive friend to Bangladesh from the very beginning of Rohingya influx. There are many aspects of the Turkey-Bangladesh relationship, aspects that holds significant value to both of the countries. To discuss the Bangladesh-Turkey relation, we have a very special guest with us. Our guest today is from the land of the Ottomans, the Turkish ambassador to Bangladesh, His Excellency MUSTAFA Osman TURAN. Throughout the career, he worked at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs departments on the Middle East, NATO, and Euro-Atlantic Security and Defense Affairs, arms control and disarmament, and multilateral economic affairs. Before being appointed as the ambassador to Bangladesh as of 15th January 2020, he was based in Ankara as the Deputy Director General for Multilateral Economic Affairs. As a career diplomat, he worked in Italy, Albania, Macedonia, Kosovo, Austria, Afghanistan, and Belgium. MUSTAFA also has experience in the field of social entrepreneurship. His passion is to host meaningful conversation in inspiring places. Now, I'd like to request my good friend MUSTAFA Osman TURAN to take the control of the podium and deliver your introductory speech. 15 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you, Zillur. Thank you very much for this invitation, kind invitation and introduction. I should also thank Dr. Manzoor Chowdhury, the chairman of the Center for Governance Studies, and also the program coordinator of the Friedrich-Ebert-Stiftung, Mr. Shadan Kumar Das, distinguished audience who have taken your time to come here to listen to me. Indeed, I've been speaking at different opportunities about Turkey-Bangladesh relations, and one of the Turkey and Bangladesh. I will say Turkey for the ease of reference to all of you. As you all know, we changed the name of our country in English. We call it Türkiye, but sometimes I switch between the two. Today I will use Turkey for the sake of consistency. And a lot has been said also about the past of our bilateral relations in the introductions today. And they really contain some elements of the foundations of our bilateral relations, which date back to the even it goes back more than the Mughal times. I think preceding the Mughal dynasty, there were Turkish rulers starting from the 12th century, 12th, 13th, 14th century in the Indian subcontinent, and they were, as you said, rulers who have come here not to take what people had in this land, but rather they burned the boats and bridges which brought them here and integrated with the people of these lands. And when you look at history, you see a lot of examples of this. Obviously, we have to revive and revive these ties based in history, and look back with a curiosity that can really teach us a lot about what we can do today, as the two nations are increasingly powerful in international relations and increasingly playing a bigger role. And there is a lot to learn from history. Obviously, the history that we had is not restricted to the architecture, the traditions, but also some of the strategic collaborations, such as the ones that was mentioned. The shipyards in Chattogram was a very convenient place for the Ottoman sultans to build their specific ships, which were actually used in the conquest of Constantinople in 1453. As you know, the Sultan Mehmet II took those ships over the land into the Golden Horn to be able to conquer Constantinople. There is a book which refers to this historical fact, which is written by a writer in Chattogram, which I can share if anyone is interested. Obviously, Turkish rulers patronized and built madrasas and hankas, which have become not only centers of spiritual elevation, but also places of learning, of science, and other disciplines of knowledge. So there is a lot to learn from history. In more recent times, when we come back to the times of difficulty for the Turkish nation, the end of the Ottoman Empire was quite troublesome. The Ottoman Empire was conquering the lands in Europe, and the European powers felt the need to push back, and they were successful to a certain extent at the end of the First World War. Even if the Ottomans were victorious on the Gallipoli campaign, they had to declare defeated because of the alliance that was established between the Ottomans and the Germans at the end of the First World War. And our country was occupied by the British, the Greeks, the French, and the Italians. We will never forget, as it was mentioned, the helping hand extended to Atatürk and the Turkish army and the people by the people of Bengal at the time, both morally and financially, by the way. I know this from various anecdotes that quite a significant amount of material support was sent to the envoy of Atatürk, who was based in Paris. And actually Atatürk divided this financial support into three. And 1/3 went to the army, 1/3 of this contribution went to the first ever parliament that we established during the times of Atatürk in Ankara. It's a museum right now. If you ever go to Ankara to visit, please go to the first parliament. Your ancestors have contributed to build that parliament. And the last 1/3 went to a bank. It's called İş Bank, and that bank was necessary to finance the independence war. So if you go to the headquarters of the İş Bank today in Istanbul, you can see a plug on the wall that recognizes the contribution of the people of Bengal, the Bengali Muslims support at the time. So, you know, I know that talking about Turkey and our brotherhood and sisterhood evoke a lot of emotion in Bangladesh, and I was the first-hand witness to this since I arrived 3 years ago. I was fascinated by the fact that one of the most prestigious streets in Dhaka is named after our founding father, and we reciprocated by doing the same for Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in Ankara. Last year in December, during Mujib Bor Show, we inaugurated the bust of Bangabandhu on the same street with his name, and named one of the parks in Ankara after Bangabandhu. Honorable Foreign Minister was there to inaugurate them. We will soon do the same in Dhaka for a really beautiful park on the Kemal Atatürk Avenue to be named after Mustafa Kemal, and a bust of Atatürk to be inaugurated on Kemal Atatürk Avenue. These are all symbolic gestures which show the unique closeness between our nations. I've visited the high school in Feni, named after Kemal Atatürk, in 1939, 2 months after his death, out of respect and admiration. And I know that many young Bengali kids were educated in that school, and they were feeling more powerful because the school was named after a great leader of the Turks who defeated colonial powers. I was given a feedback on social media by the daughter of one of those kids who were educated as an orphan in that school, and how he felt stronger because he studied in that school. So there are many examples. You also mentioned the epic poem Kemal Pasha, written by Qazi Nazrul Islam. In fact, Qazi Nazrul was the bridge between Atatürk and majority Muslim secular Turkish Republic established by Kemal Atatürk, inspiring Bangabandhu for a secular nationalist Bangladeshi state. His epic poem has inspired many people in Bengal at the time and in today's Bangladesh for an independent, strong national state, which is now a thriving country based on this foundation. So we need to go back to history and revive some of these facts which are sometimes not very well known to the young generations. Based on this very strong foundation, today, at present times, our countries are enjoying very cordial bilateral ties. This is reflected in many different domains. Obviously, on the top of our agenda is how to benefit from the growing economic growth and power of our countries. Both Bangladesh and Turkey have been growing exponentially in their economic powers, and this fact creates a lot of opportunities, and we are seeing that our trade is increasing exponentially. When I came here, it was $850 million 3 years ago. Now it's close to $1.5 billion. And our target is to increase it up to $2 billion in 1 or 2 years. I strongly believe that it's going to happen sooner than we expect, because I see the growing interest coming from both sides. We have recently established a Bangladesh-Turkey business forum with the participation of 11 powerful Bangladeshi companies and 6 Turkish companies operating in Bangladesh. They will promote further our trade and investments and also bring our countries closer through cultural events and other ways of cooperation. It's also a fact that when you are so close, you also speak honestly, and you want the best of your partners. So at one point in history, in recent history, there have been certain periods in which there have been some misunderstandings between our countries, and those misunderstandings emanated mainly because our country is asking and hoping for the best in Bangladesh, a peaceful country with a large population, facing a lot of challenges at the same time, need political stability. And it's very promising that political stability exists today, and our countries have addressed any of the issues that have arisen, which may have been misunderstood. But I am very pleased to note today that our relations have been elevated to the level of strategic partnership. We can see this in the field of defense cooperation. We can see this in the field of also political visits. Our foreign ministers have exchanged visits in the past 2-3 years, and we are expecting our president also to visit Bangladesh as soon as our elections next year is over. And I believe that those political level, high level visits will elevate our bilateral cooperation to the next level. Bangladesh and Turkey are countries which really promote peace and stability in international relations. We are both contributing to peacekeeping operations at the UN, and we also promote regional cooperation. Turkey in our own region, Bangladesh in Southeast Asia, South Asia, and we are both members of the D8 organization, which is a very interesting platform to bring together what we call in international relations middle powers. Sometimes countries are caught between superpowers competition, but there is a bigger role to be played by both Turkey and Bangladesh in promoting regional cooperation, and our new policy, which we named as Asia and New policy, going back to our roots, because Turks originally, as I mentioned, have migrated from the Central Asia, from Asia to Anatolia. So we would like to cultivate those historical ties, and Bangladesh has become one of our key partners in Asia. So I believe that with our renewed interest and growing interest in Asia, and Asia becoming the new center of global politics, our countries can play a much bigger role in the years to come. What I would like to say about the future of our bilateral cooperation is that we need to increase the people-to-people contacts. We need to do this through cooperation in the fields of art, culture, academia. We need to, I would like to see a Turkish cultural center in Dhaka, and maybe a Bengal or Bangladeshi cultural center in Turkey, so that our countries dig deeper into our common history and shared values. We have organized last year an event called Sufi Encounters, and we have showcased how similar our Sufi traditions are, which are reflected in music, in certain rituals, the Sufi rituals that we have. Whirling dervishes in Konya, for example, is a good example. Konya, where Mevlana Celaleddin Rumi lived and died, is a sister city of Silet, where Hazret Shah Jalal's mazar is based. I've visited Silet quite a number of times, and I was very touched by the closeness that the people of Silet have shown me during my visit. But wherever I go, I always experience a warm welcome. It's almost like feeling home in Bangladesh. So, just to conclude, I would like to argue that the future of our bilateral relations is going to be brighter than even today. We have laid the foundations for it, and there's a lot to gain from this bilateral cooperation. I mentioned defense cooperation, but it goes way beyond that. The cooperation between our armed forces have been exemplary. 3,000 Bangladeshi officers have been trained so far in Turkey. More recently, not only armed forces but also Ansar personnel are provided with training. Last year we have signed a security cooperation between our police forces. So we are expecting that the cooperation in the field of counter-terrorism and fight against violent extremism will develop in the near future, and we will also see more Turkish contractors are coming to Bangladesh. We already have quite substantial investments. One of our companies is invested in the field of household appliances. They are now building a new factory, and another one is invested in the field of LPG sector, in energy sector, with a joint venture. They invested $150 million, and I see every day that there are new investors coming to see our embassy to explore the opportunities. So the future is brighter, and if the the people of our countries learn more about our history, see the potentials by visiting our countries. This year, Turkey has become one of the most favorite destinations for tourism in Bangladesh. I have myself taken quite a number of people for a visit. Also, medical tourism and other spiritual and religious tourism is increasing. And I'm hoping that Turkish people will also visit Bangladesh in growing numbers in the near future when they see that this is a country where they feel home. So with those, I would like to stop here for perhaps exploring further ideas through your questions and comments. I'm ready to respond any comment or question. As I said, one of the advantages of being the guest of Zillur is that you are invited to be open and constructive. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Should I sit?
Thank you, Ambassador Mustafa, for your fascinating speech. And let's start our conversation with this, that it's been almost 3 years that you joined the Turkish embassy in Bangladesh. What is your overall experience regarding the people, culture, and the political environment? Yeah, please, sure.
Thank you. Yes, I arrived just before COVID started, and of course, the initial period of COVID was a bit difficult for all of us, including myself, because I came with a lot of enthusiasm to learn, to travel, to meet people, but suddenly we were locked in our homes for a few months at least. Just before the COVID, I was able to visit Lalmonirhat for for a project, and it was my first visit out of Dhaka, and there I saw we opened a training center for in one of the small towns there, and I've seen this also quite an proactive approach that people take to develop, to want to develop our relations, and that has given me even further appetite to explore more. But during COVID times, our focus was more on how can we support each other. You know, we have provided some medical support to Bangladesh. Also, we have provided some assistance to the disadvantaged groups who were suffering under COVID circumstances. But Bangladesh has managed those times quite well, and we soon were able to go around and see the country, meet people. And what I realized is what I said during my speech, which is that there is a lot to discover. You know, I was reading a lot during the lockdowns about our history, about our common culture. I was impressed by the literature and poems in the Tagore and Kazi Nazrul were the first ones that I read. And I slowly started making friends, and those friends have brought new perspectives. So I always felt home and very welcomed in Bangladesh.
Great, Ambassador. In 2019, Ankara launched its Asia Anew initiative, which seeks to boost the country's cooperation with Asian countries. Where does Bangladesh stand in that initiative? Do you consider Bangladesh as one of the closest partners in Asia?
Yes, as I said earlier, Asia is a vast continent, and there are many countries in this continent. But it's also a fact that the power in international relations, the power has shifted towards Asia, and this is mainly because of the growing economic activity and growing economic innovations, investments, and trade moving towards Asia. And Bangladesh is a part of this growth. It was one of the most striking examples of how a country can move quickly if there is political stability and the right economic decisions. So it attracted the attention of our business people, and politically our Asia a new policy also promotes the idea that there is a role to be played by countries like Bangladesh, which are pursuing a very balanced foreign policy, not completely allied with a certain superpower, but rather maintaining an even-handed foreign policy. So in that respect, our foreign policy and Bangladesh's foreign policy are very much aligned. So we are not feeling belonging to any of the initiatives in this region. For example, the Free and Open Indo-Pacific has a certain constellation, which also includes the military dimension. We don't see that, involving in a military alliance in this part of the world is very productive, because after all, it's a superpower competition. There is a room for collaboration and cooperation with all the stakeholders in Asia, and we believe that because of the similarity of our foreign policies, Bangladesh is our natural partner.
Okay. Mustafa, according to the Global Tourism Index 2022, Turkey is the 23rd most impacted by tourism in the world, while Bangladesh was 40th. In addition, both countries are at high risk of drug trafficking, which is affecting the economy of both countries. And we know that Turkey is an active contributor to counterterrorism capacity building programs of several states around the world, as you mentioned in your introductory speech. The smuggling of narcotics, which is a significant source of revenue for terrorist groups, is another issue that Turkey aims to eliminate. In this context, how do you think that the memorandum of understanding signed between the two countries on security cooperation, counterterrorism, and counter-drug trafficking in January will help solve this situation? What steps have Turkey and Bangladesh taken to overcome this situation?
Yes, we recently organized an event on the 14th of July at our embassy particularly on this topic, and there were experts and academics who participated in that debate, and there it was obvious that based on this agreement that we signed last January, on the 8th of January, our Minister of Interior visited Bangladesh and signed this agreement, and it includes cooperation in the field of training, exchange of experiences in counter-terrorism, but also fight against violent extremism. Bangladesh has accumulated quite a substantial amount of experience, which was shared during that event. And we will now start sending delegations of experts reciprocally to our countries, and they will be trained. They will train our police officers. There is a cooperation, as I said, between our security forces and Ansar. There's also drug trafficking, human trafficking are issues that my country has accumulated a lot of knowledge and experience, because Turkey is also a geographic location, makes it a crossroads for all these kind of illegal activities. So our law enforcement has gained a lot of experience, especially counter-terrorism. You know that just a few days ago there was a terrorist attack in Istanbul, committed by a militant terrorist which belongs to PKK, and PKK, we are fighting against this terrorist organization for the last 3 decades, and unfortunately we see that some of our allies are extending sympathy and support to this terrorist organization, which has also some offshoots in the north of Syria and Iraq, and our security forces have developed extraordinary capacity to fight against this kind of terrorism. Just a few hours after this attack, the person who left the bomb has been apprehended, the prime suspect. So I think there is a lot we can do, and we have now the legal framework for cooperation in this field.
Turkey seems to be very aware of climate change and its consequences. Are there any possibilities of collaboration between Turkey and Bangladesh to fight against the climate issues?
Yes, of course. For us as well, climate change is an important issue, although we know that Bangladesh is now chairing the most vulnerable countries group in this process. We have also signed and ratified the Paris Agreement, and our country is very eager to be a part of the solution to the climate change related issues and problems. Obviously, this requires global cooperation, and we would like to see. We can also benefit from Bangladesh's experiences in the fields of adaptation and mitigation. Bangladesh is really good, and we know that Bangladesh is arguing for the compensation, the loss and damage issue in the climate change discussions in COP meetings, and there is a lot of room for collaboration in this area. Diplomatically and in all multilateral fora. So I think there's a lot to learn from each other in this field.
Ambassador, both Bangladesh and Turkey might benefit economically and militarily from the expansion of defense cooperation. Turkey is becoming a potential alternative source for Bangladesh to buy military hardware and for defense training. The bond between Dhaka and Ankara gained new momentum after the recent signing of an agreement on security cooperation, counter-terrorism and drug trafficking. Bangladesh is now the 4th largest weapon buyer from Turkey. In the first 4 months of 2021, Bangladesh imported $60 million worth of arms from Turkey. Out of the Turkey's total of $1 billion in defense sales. What do you think is the future of military cooperation between the both countries?
First, I need to clarify one thing, which needs to be, confirmed as a fact. So this security cooperation we signed through the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs here and our Minister of Interior in January. It's not related to defense cooperation. It's related to police cooperation, counterterrorism, drug trafficking, and all that. Our defense, the cooperation between our military and our armed forces is based on other agreements, not that agreement, and those agreements are mainly related to training between the military forces of our countries, and also some financial cooperation. So Turkey allocates some financial resources by which Bangladesh can procure armament from Turkey. But this recent cooperation that is increasing more, it's in the field of defense industry, and this is more about our private companies, defense industry companies, which has made big progress in the last 15 years in manufacturing state-of-the-art defense equipment at NATO standards with a reasonable cost. And Turkey also does not attach any political conditions to its defense cooperation, unlike some.
But figure is correct.
Figure is fine, but you know it's not based on the security cooperation agreement. The figure is correct, and our defense industry cooperation is increasing. I can give you some examples because these are public. This is public information. Bangladesh has purchased multi-launcher rocket systems, which are now in the inventory of the Bangladeshi armed forces. This purchase has happened a few years back, but now there was a new battery of MLRS, as we call them. It's a very robust capability for the army, and Bangladesh is also developing its artillery capacity through purchases from Turkey. I have also confirmed to the media recently that Bangladesh has procured drones from my country, drones that are, as I said, state-of-the-art technology in the world. Bangladesh is also procuring armored personnel carriers, APCs, for its peacekeeping operations in different parts of the world, because we also manufacture one of the best vehicles, armored vehicles that protect the peacekeeping forces. So these are some of the examples, and we are also we hope that our cooperation will expand to Navy and Coast Guard. We have made some proposals for technology transfer in the field of construction of the patrol vessels, and if that proposal is accepted, most of the vessels will be manufactured in Bangladesh. 7 of them in Khulna shipyard and 2 of them in Chittagong dry dock. And we are hoping that as soon as these financial difficulties for all of us are over, our defense cooperation will again accelerate.
Mr. Ambassador, since 2012, Turkey has provided more than $75 billion in humanitarian and development assistance in Bangladesh to Bangladesh. After a massive fire in the Rohingya refugee camp on March 22nd, 2021, the Turkish field hospital was quickly rebuilt on the orders of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. What are your thoughts on the current state of Rohingya repatriation, and do you think Turkey and YC can play a bigger role to create pressure on Myanmar to speed up repatriation?
Yes, I think we are aware of the fact that the Rohingya issue is a very important issue for Bangladesh. Turkey is best placed to understand why Bangladesh is paying so much attention and seeking international solidarity to repatriate the Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh, because we have done the same in our country. We are hosting more than 3.5 million Syrians in Turkey. You know, Turkey's population is half of Bangladesh, but the number of refugees is almost 4 times, 3-4 times. So we feel, you know, the urgency of addressing this refugee problem in our countries, and from the beginning, Turkey was in solidarity, showing solidarity with Bangladesh. As you mentioned in the introduction, our First Lady was the first international dignitary who arrived in Bangladesh to internationalize the Rohingya issue, because, you know, some reluctance sometimes appear, and you know, because we also believe that the situation the Rohingyas are facing in Myanmar is one of the worst, you know, international human rights violations overall. You know, they are denied their citizenship, they are persecuted, and you know, and attacked. So, what Bangladesh has done was an act of generosity and humanity, and the Honorable Prime Minister earned the very justified title of the Mother of Humanity, and that's why we feel the need to support Bangladesh both diplomatically in various international fora, be it at the UN or OIC. At the UN, whenever this issue is being discussed, we always partner with Bangladesh to host high-level meetings. We have done one recently in New York, and we also support the international court case at the International Court of Justice brought by Gambia against Myanmar. We support this both legally and financially, you know, the case in the IJC. So this is what we can do at the moment. The situation in Myanmar unfortunately does not allow as yet for a safe, dignified and voluntary return of the Rohingyas, but we always assure the government of Bangladesh that Turkey will support the fact that this issue has to remain high on the agenda of the international community.
As you mentioned in your introductory speech, historically, religiously and culturally, Turkey has deep ties with the people of this region since the regime of the Ottoman Empire. And the national poet of Bangladesh wrote a poem named Kamal Pasha, dedicated to the former ruler of Turkey, Kamal Pasha. You have heard your observation regarding Bangladesh culture, and you said that both countries can do a lot of things strengthen the cultural cooperation. Would you like to add more?
Yes, I think you know why culture is important, because we are living in a world where the means of communication is much faster, much stronger than ever before. Like, people receive information, people travel more, there's more connectivity, right? But at the same time, there is misinformation. There is, let's say, some contaminated information. So I think if we establish those links of communication through culture, art, academia, the information that our people learn will be more trustworthy. That's why I emphasize these people-to-people contacts. You know, if we exchange academics, if we exchange artists, you know, if we exchange writers. For example, in the next edition of the Dhaka Lit Fest, Orhan Pamuk is coming, our Nobel laureate writer, and it's a great opportunity for the people of Bangladesh to get to know a Turkish writer, and I'm sure it will be one of the highlights of the event when Orhan Pamuk starts, you know, sharing his opinion about my country. They will learn firsthand. So that's why I think this is very important. And once our people learn more about each other, then it helps to build trade, you know, because then there's trust between the two countries. Then it helps building better business relations. It helps building better political relations. That's why culture and arts and communication is so important.
Ambassador, it seems that Turkey is the only NATO country that can have a dialogue with Russia at the moment. Turkey has maintained a great trade relation with Russia. Also, Turkey has remained consistent in backing Kiev, including in Crimea. the historic home of Crimea Tatars, a community that sees Turkey as a kin state. Do you believe Turkey can play an important mediator role in stopping the tragic violence and conflict between Russia and Ukraine?
Yes, thank you. As you said, our policy about Ukraine is very clear. We did not recognize the annexation of Crimea. We support the territorial integrity of Ukraine. We did not accept the last annexation of the, you know, the province, some of the provinces of Ukraine. That's very clear because we don't believe that borders, borders between countries should not be changed by force, by military force in particular. Sometimes countries change borders through peaceful means. They have an agreement, just like after the Cold War, some countries have changed borders, but changing borders by intervention and force is not the way to go, unless there are some legal grounds for it. That's very clear, but at the same time, we do not believe that the sanctions on Russia is working. So we did not apply the sanctions, and we have kept our dialogue open with the Russian Federation since the beginning of the intervention, the military intervention by military invasion by Russia. So that Turkey has become the only country as of today who can speak with both sides, and that created some positive results. Our president has personally been involved to strike a deal for the export of Ukrainian and Russian grain and fertilizers, and that opened a possibility of avoiding a hunger and famine in many parts of the world. There is already famine in Somalia, in Yemen, and in some parts of Africa. But if this deal was not achieved, then this would have gone viral around the world. The food shortages. So I think that was an important achievement with our intervention in diplomatic terms, and I believe that we were also successful in terms of exchange of wars of prisoners, prisoners of war between the two sides. That was some sort of a positive development, but of course the bigger issue is how to stop the military conflict and how to strike a sustainable peace deal. And for that, my government and our president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, is working hard. He uses all possibilities. Currently, there is a lot of diplomatic activity in Bali at the G20 summit, and our president is very active in talking to various leaders to be able to help resolve the conflict in Ukraine. It's not an easy task. It's a very complicated situation, not only because Russia is a nuclear power and a mighty country, and they have made their positions very clear. So diplomacy is the best way to reconcile, but for that peace to happen, there is a need for mutual effort to come to a peace deal. So it will take time, but we will do our best to achieve that result.
Mustafa, as you are aware, the level of skepticism over the fairness of elections in Bangladesh has reached an all-time high. Do you believe that the presence of international impartial election observers may help dispel concerns and make it possible for all parties to participate in the elections without fear?
Well, you know, how to organize elections is an internal matter of any given country. What we believe in Turkey is that you know, democracies flourish when countries take responsibility for their own internal affairs, right? So the main responsibility lies in the government, but it also lies in the opposition, because democracy is like you know, it takes two sides to play. Obviously, every country is facing a problem in terms of democracy and human rights, including in some of our you know, relatively more advanced friends in the world. So I think in Bangladesh there is obviously room for a dialogue between political parties. Unfortunately, that has not taken place yet, but I see that both the government and also the election commission are trying to do their best to create a possibility of participation for the opposition in the elections. Because without the participation of the opposition, of course, it will be a missed opportunity for Bangladesh to have free and fair elections. When it comes to international observers, again, this is a decision to be made by the government. I understand that there is a debate also within the government, and you know, some members of the cabinet is saying, you know, it's the responsibility of the election commission to invite them. But I think the government also needs to prepare the ground for any observation, election observation. You know, if the election observation is impartial, is objective, it's very helpful, because it tells you what was wrong, what was right. But sometimes, you know, election observation is very limited, and sometimes political considerations can be, you know, a factor. You know, so it's up to Bangladesh to decide whether to invite or not election observers. I know that in the past it was possible, but whether it's going to be... Yes, it was possible. But you know, I want to also emphasize that more than international observation, what really works in our country, for example, is the fact that all political parties can observe elections. Like, they send their representatives to the polling stations. They sit there from the beginning till the end of the counting of the votes with the people who are in charge of the polling stations. They sit there, like all political parties, sit there with their representatives and check whether there is any irregularity. That's what we do in our country. They sometimes even accompany, you know, the boxes to be taken to the, you know, the Central Election Commission, you know, to protect the boxes. That's, you know, so that's political parties, the opposition, can play a big role in observing the elections. But for that to happen, the opposition needs to decide to participate in the elections. If they don't participate, they will not observe, and that will not be possible. So I'm hoping that both sides, both opposition parties and the government, you know, Awami League and the BNP, they all participate in the elections, and they observe the elections with their own representatives, and Bangladesh will be much stronger if this happens in the next elections.
A few months ago, you said in a press meet, I quote, now I think we can develop the partnership that is mutually beneficial in many fields, not just in the garments industry, but also in emerging sectors such as pharmaceuticals industry, health sector, and ICT sector, unquote. What type of partnership are you planning regarding those sectors?
Yes, I think diversification of our trade and investments is key. It's also key for Bangladesh. Bangladesh's economy cannot depend only on garments industry, because then the economy becomes vulnerable to the demand of the markets where garments are sold. We have seen this during the pandemic crisis. The demand has fallen sharply in the initial period, and there was a problem because the main source of foreign currency and the main exports now, I think 80% almost, is coming from the garments. So I think the more Bangladesh diversifies its economy by investing in different sectors such as ICT, pharmaceuticals, there's shipbuilding, there's agro-industry, there's light engineering, automobile industry, leather sector. So all of these sectors have the potential to diversify the economy. And once this happens, I think we will be very interested to also diversify our investments and trade according to Bangladesh's priorities. So what's happening right now is that new investors are exploring these potential areas of investment. ICT has emerged as an area where Bangladesh has a big potential, because currently Bangladesh is the second largest online labor provider, in terms of IT professionals, after India, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a big potential. The second is pharmaceuticals. I have visited some of the factories, pharma factories in Bangladesh. They use state-of-the-art technology to produce generic drugs, which are very much in demand, not only in developing countries but also in the developed countries. Some people cannot afford expensive drugs, so they need alternatives. I think Bangladesh can play a big role in this, and our pharma companies, which are also becoming more and more interested in collaboration with Bangladesh.
In an interview you said, quote, "It is a priority for us to increase our trade." In 2020, the overall trade volume between Bangladesh and Turkey was around 850 million US dollar. Now it has passed the 1 billion USD threshold. We aim to increase it up to 2 billion USD in a couple of years, unquote. Can you share your thoughts or possible plan to increase the trade relation?
Yes, it is already increasing. As I said in my speech, as we speak, in the first 9 months of this year, our trade is now $950 million. So we still have 3 more months, and I think it will go up to $1.4, $1.5 billion this year. So, and this is happening during the time of economic hardship all around the world. The container costs, transportation costs are at all-time high. The economies are in trouble. But despite this difficult time, our trade is increasing. So that's a good indicator for the future of our trade. I'm sure it will pass the 2 billion threshold maybe next year or the year after easily, because currently we are selling machinery, chemicals, cotton, and some light engineering products. But in the future this will diversify, and we will currently we are buying jute and some garments from Bangladesh. But if we can sign a preferential trade agreement, or we can have an agreement to remove some of the obstacles in front of our trade, I think we can easily pass this 2 billion threshold in the next year or two.
And in your opinion, what is the likelihood of a free trade agreement between Turkey and Bangladesh?
Well, currently we are not talking about free trade, but rather a preferential trade agreement. And this is being discussed in the Joint Economic Commission meeting between the governments and private sector. The last Joint Economic Commission was organized in Ankara in 2019, and the next one will be in Dhaka next year. So the Honorable Finance Minister and our Ministry of Tourism and Culture are co-chairs of this group, of this commission, and they will discuss how we can remove the obstacles to increase our trade during the next meeting.
And it is great to know from your speech that in line with Bangladesh's recent efforts to build strong ties with other countries, 11 Bangladeshi and 6 Turkish companies have joined forces and decided to establish the Bangladesh-Turkey Business Forum. Do you think BTBF can play as an advocacy platform for the development of bilateral relations between Bangladesh and Turkey?
Yes, absolutely, because this platform, it's not a chamber yet. It's not a typical chamber. It's a small group of very dedicated, powerful businesses. I would like to give you some examples who they are. It's chaired by Dr. Rubana Haq from Mohammedi Group, the immediate former president of BGMEA. She's a very dynamic leader, and the co-chairperson is Mr. Selahattin Kasim Khan, the AK Khan company. We have Kazi Farms chairman, Mr. Kazi Zaidul Hasan, who is very also, as you know, his TV channel, Dipto TV, is the main channel for Turkish series, drama series. I know your channel also showing 1 or 2, but he's the pioneer channel. So he's in the leadership of this group. We have also Square Group, BSRM, we have Isfahani Group, we have United Group, which has a joint venture with a Turkish LPG company. We have also Bengal Foundation joined for the culture and arts aspect of this forum. So we have also 6 Turkish companies who are operational in Bangladesh. This LPG company called Aygaz, Arçelik, who bought majority shares of Singer Bangladesh. We have Turkish Airlines, we have a construction company, we have a consultancy company. So this is a very small but very dedicated group, and I'm also participating in their meetings. Our embassy supports them fully, and you will see in the coming period that they will organize some very interesting meetings to explore collaborations, various collaborations between our countries. They will also explore they will make some research into what areas our countries can collaborate further in terms of, they have this business angle to this research, and this results of that research will help businesses to build partnerships.
As you know, Bangladesh will emerge from the ranks of the least developed countries, LDC, by the year 2026. Will this graduation impact on the existing trade agreements between Turkey and Bangladesh?
No, because I think Bangladesh's LDC graduation will help Bangladesh to be able to competitive, right? So so far Bangladesh had easy access to a lot of markets, especially in the West, and this privilege will continue for another couple of years, but this is a good time for Bangladesh to develop its own capacity to diversify its trade, become more competitive in international trade. I think we can partner with Bangladesh, for example, in the RMG sector. Our companies are very good at design capabilities, and Bangladesh is very good at manufacturing capabilities. So if they can find a way to collaborate, then they will not become competitors but collaborators. So I think this LDC graduation is a good thing for Bangladesh. I think Bangladesh is ready for it. Yeah.
Thank you. And my last question to you, what do you think the bilateral relation between Bangladesh and Turkey will look in the next 10 years?
Next
10 years.
10 years. No, as I said in my speech, the future is brighter for our bilateral relations because, as I said, we have a very strong foundation of our bilateral relations, historical, cultural, religious, you name it. We are far away in terms of geographical distance, but we are very close in terms of our hearts. Our hearts beat closer, and that helps building businesses, building, exchanging tourists, exchanging knowledge and know-how, transfer of technology. There is a level of trust that we enjoy, which is hardly ever possible in many different countries. And as I said in my speech, we have shown that we can also overcome some of the disagreements we may have. Countries have mutual interests. Our relations must be based on shared interests. We should go beyond gestures, such as naming the parks after our founding fathers. These are very beautiful gestures which show our closeness, but we need to go beyond in the next 10 years and develop our relations even further based on mutual interests. And I believe that Bangladesh and Turkey have a lot of mutual interests in the world. I said recently that Turkey and Bangladesh can be forces of good in the international arena. By that I mean we can contribute proactively to peace and stability in the world through regional cooperation. Bangladesh can take proactive initiatives for regional cooperation, and I think no bilateral dispute between Bangladesh and any other country should prevent Bangladesh from taking these proactive initiatives for regional cooperation. That's what we need here in this part of the world. That's what we need across the globe. And Turkey will always be a partner for Bangladesh to stay in solidarity in taking initiatives wherever is possible.
Thank you, Ambassador Mustafa. It's been always a wonderful experience interact with you. So now I'm going to open the floor for your interventions. Please raise your hand. No introduction, just introduce yourself and just question.
Your Excellency, my name is Nasiruddin Ahmed Asim. I am an advocate of Bangladesh Supreme Court and International Affairs Secretary of Bangladesh Nationalist Party. I do have a question. So far, I remember in the recent past, the ambassador was withdrawn from Bangladesh following execution of some political leaders after a war crime tribunal's decisions. Thereafter, within a couple of months, the ambassador was sent back to Bangladesh again. May I ask, if Your Excellency doesn't mind, why was that decision being taken? Was it due to dissatisfaction over the decision of the Bangladesh government? Or sending the ambassador back to Bangladesh, is it because of feeling and love for the people of Bangladesh on the part of the Turkish government? And the other part of the question, I do not know, and I do not think whether this is suitable for this forum, that peaceful political existence is prevailing in Bangladesh right at this moment. And Your Excellency said or reiterated the participation of both parties, that is, government and the opposition parties needs to talk, and there is room for talk or dialogue. But following the election of 2018, where we have seen our Prime Minister says we are advanced in many respects. Yes, we are advanced. We have finished the vote of day, the poll day, before the polling day. We have finished our vote in 2018.
question,
would
please,
it
just a
repeat?
question.
Would it be a repeated one, or do you think that will happen again, even if the opposition participates in the election? Thank you very much.
I know all of you are more powerful than me, but please wait for my signal. Without my signal, don't stand up, don't take the microphone. So I want to see the hands. Okay, okay, okay. No, let me collect 3-4 questions and then you will answer. Okay. So Lieutenant General Mohammad Aminul Karim.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Excellency, for an excellent exposition of the Bangladesh-Turkey relations. If you give me 2 minutes to share a story, very short
That will
story.
be too high.
1 minute.
Okay.
I visited your great country as a leader of the military delegation in 2008. I was visiting your war college, a big establishment, and a 3-star general was briefing us. And he was saying, you are not our friends to us, to the delegates of Bangladesh. You are not our allies. I said, then are we enemies? No, you are our brothers. You are blood brothers. I was very much moved by that. And I went to a shopping mall. I was buying some your cutleries, and he was asking for $10. And then I was negotiating. I was trying to bargain. The moment I said, I'm from Bangladesh, oh, you're from Bangladesh, sit down. He brought tea. For you, it is $6. I said, why? Your Bengali ladies, sold their golden Bengals to support our war cause in those days. So I remember that very much, and we have very warm relations brotherly relations between the two countries. My question is, how do you see the potential of OIC in addressing the problems between Saudi Arabia and Iran and the Saudi Arabia-Yemen war, and the African Union can raise a peacekeeping force? Is there any possibility OIC can do that? Thank you, Excellency.
Dr. Jamaluddin.
Thank you. I represent Bangladesh Economic Association. So my question will be based on economy. 1. Do you have some strategic plan to develop for the future with Bangladesh in future? Do you have any strategic plan to develop business relationship with Bangladesh? Because we understand that a lot of companies are working here in Bangladesh. So how much would be the next future 10 years or 5 years term? Can you explain that? Thank you.
And Major General Syed Muhammad Ibrahim.
Excellency, compliments to you for an excellent talk. I'm a former soldier, now a political worker, and the name of the political party, I am the chairman, Bangladesh Kollan Party. The word Kollan in Bangla means welfare in English, and you have similar outfit in Turkey. One question is, Bangladesh is one of the major foreign policy or a problem in the foreign areas is the Rohingya problem. You have touched upon it. You have done enough. You have tried your best. May I suggest, as a citizen of Bangladesh, what else can you do? Because we are really stuck in between a superpower and regional power. Now you are a great friend, but little away. We are inspired to see your role during the Ukraine-Russia war, and we are being encouraged to feel, could you play a similar role in some way to mitigate the difficulties of the Rohingya crisis that Bangladesh faces? It's a problem that we face among friends, but the friends have their own interest. We are suffering. This is one. Secondly, Bangladesh has there is great tourism traveling between India and Bangladesh, and that is because of the holy place in Ajmer. It's just a food for thought for you to explore religious tourism between Konya and Bangladesh. You have touched upon it. I'm a great fan of the devotees of the Sufism. And I feel, since you also emphasize that culture may play a greater role in building a better relationship. Could you kindly comment? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ambassador.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all 4 questions. So let me start with this issue that is brought to me whenever I am in front of the media, this perennial issue of why Turkey expressed disagreement or some, whether there was any conflict between the government of Bangladesh and the government of Turkey regarding the war crimes tribunal and what was happening back at that time between 2012 and all the way to 16, right? So these were the times which I refer to as some misunderstandings. So let me clarify, because I don't want this to be a repeating question each time I face the media, because we have to understand each other. We have to understand because the friendships that we enjoy, both politically but people to people, right, must be based on trust. Okay, so let me reassure you that that trust exists, and I'll tell you why. So in Turkey, you are a barrister or?
Barrister.
Yes, an advocate. Okay. So in Turkey, we do not have death penalty, no capital punishment. In Turkey, we do not exercise capital punishment since 1980s. So it's removed from our legal system. First, we had a moratorium. We had it in our books, but didn't execute anyone. But after, we removed it from our legal system. Why? Because of our experience. In 1960s, we have executed our prime minister, our foreign minister, and another minister of education. 3 top leaders of the country were executed as a result of a military coup. And you know what happened? 10 years after, the government changed. The ones who were executed were more like on the right side of the political spectrum. So then the left, the government changed. So the more left-wing party executed the right wing. Then the government changed. Then the right-wing military coup executed 3 people as a revenge. 3 young people. They were the leaders of some leftist groups, right? They were icons for some. You see, this is like quid pro quo. Like, you execute your opponent, then they come to power, they execute you, right? This is not democracy. This is not, people may have political opinions, people may have, strong opinions, as long as, the political differences, or even if, imagine South Africa, there was apartheid and, racism, and what they did was that they reconciled their differences. They reconciled. There was a committee of reconciliation and all that. By executing political figures, there is a political instability that is haunting your society for a very long time. I'm not saying you, but we have experienced this, because those people enjoy some support in large segments of society. So because of our experience, we wanted to share what we lived through, and because we think the best for Bangladesh, We want Bangladesh to be prosperous, stable, strong, friendly country. We just shared our opinion. But that opinion was considered as, that's why it was misunderstood. It was portrayed as if we intervened the internal affairs of Bangladesh. No, this was just an opinion. It was, you know, between close friends, it should be possible to share, you know, disagreements or opinions for the benefit of our allies, for our friends. So that's what happened, but it was taken out of context, taken out of proportion. Then our government had to withdraw the ambassador, and you know, it was done the same on the other side. But soon after, I think both sides realized, you know, this is not the way to go. We are too close to be separate. We are too close to withdraw our ambassadors. So we sent back immediately, you know. We are too close. And what happened, and this is the reason why we still, our bilateral relations is still stronger than ever, based on trust, is because in Turkey in 2016, our government faced another military coup attempt, right? You remember all of this. What happened was, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was the first person to extend solidarity to our president, because he was going to be assassinated if the military coup was going to be successful. You see, you know, within a family you sometimes have disagreements, but trust is always there. And immediately after, when Rohingya crisis happened, our First Lady came here, the first person. Now, would this happen if our bilateral relations were not based on trust? No, it's based on trust more than ever. And we have to forget about this and clear this misunderstanding and look to the future. That's what I would say. So regarding elections, I think, as I said, you know, whether or not the elections will be free and fair will depend on the actions of the government and the opposition. You know, only government cannot solve all issues. There must be a willingness to make elections work for the benefit of the country. I know that there are some issues which can be addressed, which I spoke to BNP, I visited their headquarters, listened to them firsthand, their complaints, their worries. So that's the way to go. Like, the political parties need to sit down and talk to each other and address some of the differences. You know, sometimes you can't get what you want, but maybe you can meet halfway through. This is what needs to happen, and it's only for Bangladesh to decide whether the elections will be free or fair, not for the foreigners. For OIC, OIC is an important platform where we collaborate with Bangladesh and many other Muslim countries. Unfortunately, it is not always playing a very effective role in international relations because there are, again, disagreements. And for example, Yemen crisis is one of those places where the Muslim countries are on different sides of the conflict. And I think we need to be very careful in taking sides when it comes to military conflict. We should work for peace and stability rather than, you know, taking sides with one of the parties of the conflict, unless there is a clear case of justice. For example, in Libya, we have taken the side of the government, which was recognized by the United Nations. The other side was an insurgent group which was trying to overthrow the government. So in Libya, we have taken the side of the legitimate government of Libya. But unless, you know, I mean, supporting insurgents and terrorists is a very dangerous road to go. So every country has to be careful, including some of our allies, when it comes to supporting insurgent groups. Regarding whether or not we have a strategic plan for economic, improving our economic ties, yes, we have a plan. You know, you may call it strategic or not. The plan is basically to diversify our trade and investments based on mutual agreements, which we will discuss in the Joint Economic Commission. So our businesses see Bangladesh as a trustworthy manufacturing hub. The two investments we had here are coming from one of our largest business groups called Koch Group, and they have done a very thorough research on whether Bangladesh is the right place to invest, and as a result of that research they decided to invest here. So that means that Bangladesh is going to be a prominent partner in this part of the world for us to direct and channel our investments. It provides a lot of opportunities, you know, special economic zones, tax incentives, affordable, competitive workforce that is very hardworking. So access to different markets from here to in this region. So I think all of this make our plans very positive to invest in Bangladesh and increase our trade. But this strategic plan must be agreed between our countries. It should not be unilateral. Because even if our businesses would like to come here, they need to be welcomed. And if there is any problem, those problems have to be addressed. And that's what we are discussing with the government of Bangladesh. And BIDA is very helpful. They are solving many of the issues if they emerge. And I believe that the years to come will show a much more active presence of Turkish businesses in Bangladesh, including our contracting sector. That is an area which was no progress so far, but we have very powerful contracting companies. They change the face of our country. If you go to Turkey, you will see the highways, the bridges, the tunnels, the city hospitals, you know, all the infrastructure we have done in the past 20 years were mostly through PPP projects, public-private partnership projects, and we have a lot of experiences and very powerful companies to build those infrastructure projects. Turkish infrastructure companies have not yet come to Bangladesh, and my immediate objective is to bring them to Bangladesh, because once they come, you will see the change. They work fast, they work, the quality of their work is much better than many other countries, and also you know, they do use the local workforce. They do not bring, you know, the workers from Turkey. So that's very important. I think you should know that in the list of best 250 contracting companies in the world, 45 of them are from Turkey. And I'm sure once they come to Bangladesh, they will contribute to the development of Bangladesh. Finally, Rohingya issue, what else can we do? I think in terms of mediation, you need both sides of the problem to agree for a mediator role. Our country is very proactive in mediation efforts. Obviously, Rohingya issue is rather an issue related to the situation in Myanmar. First, they need to be willing to receive back their own Rohingya people. We are playing a role, but this role to be played in different ways. Both sides need to approach us to ask for that role. We will not impose any additional role. I think there are players like ASEAN in this part of the world who can play an important role in Myanmar. We don't want to replace any of the players in this region. All we can do is to support what is already being done to address the complex Rohingya crisis. And we do a lot also in the field of humanitarian assistance. That will continue for as long as the government of Bangladesh needs our support. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Former Foreign Secretary, Mr. Tawhid Hussain.
Thank you, Ambassador, for the excellent exposure that you have made on relation between our two countries. Well, I have visited Turkey a number of times. In fact, if you speak of family, my elder brother was a student of METU, METU, Middle East Technical University, way back in 1970. In one word, we all can agree that the mutual feeling between Bangladesh and Turkey is at a very high level among the people. There is no doubt about that. Going back to the concrete issues, my friend, the Lieutenant General, is here, but with his permission, I will dwell a little bit on military matters. Oh, sure. We are friends since 1st July 1967. Anyway, I think that you have already mentioned about some military purchases, yes, including drones. Yes. In drone technology, we know that Turkey is at a very high level. I personally feel that while such purchases can start a process, but ultimately we should look forward to joint collaboration in manufacture. That, I think, is the future. Because the region and the world at large have become much more volatile. And as I sometimes say on various forums, that you don't need a reasonable military power to fight a war. You need it to ensure that there is no war. So that way, I think that we need a better military preparedness. We all know that we are very dangerously dependent on only one country as source of our hardware. And there is a realization now that we need to diversify, and maybe Turkey can be one of the major sources, alternate sources. It can be Indonesia, it can be Malaysia also. But I think Turkey, because of its level of military establishments and military manufacture, it can be in our interest and also in the interest of Turkey to have higher cooperation, going for co-production in the coming years. Likewise, you have already mentioned about the strength of our pharmaceutical industry. Why not we do the same thing in that? Because we have an edge over there, so there can be collaboration and joint manufacture in that area also. I would like to have your comments on this too. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Manjur Ahmed Chaudhary.
Your Excellency, I have an observation, not a question. Your ambassador from Bangladesh, in protest of judicial execution of certain individuals in our country. But, you know, in America, in Saudi Arabia, in China, hundreds of people are executed. You never do your ambassadors there. One thing. Second thing, the persons who are executed, you term them as politicians. Actually, they were war criminals. They betrayed our country when we are fighting against the occupation forces. It was a brutal war. Hundreds of thousands of people were killed, raped, and maimed. And they sided with them. So they were enemies of the country. You cannot call them as politicians. So we think that you should take these issues into consideration. And it was our right to execute them, and we did it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies from second row, Professor from Jahangirnagar University, please.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, CGS, to invite me. My first question is, do you have any
Your
plan
name
Oh,
and
good afternoon. This is Professor Dr. Jebunessa, former Chairman, Department of Public Administration, Jahangirnagar University. Thank you again. My first question is, do you have any plan to collaborate with the educational institutions and of Bangladesh and Turkey, like scholarship, different program, and training program, women empowerment program, sanitation program, waste management program? This type of program will be very invest in these Bangladesh and Turkey also. And you know that you earlier you discussion about that you can buy some garments product and some jute materials. Why some? Because you know, garment products of Bangladesh and jute materials of Bangladesh are big fans of different countries. So you can buy not some. You will get you can get more garments export from our country, and you will be very happy if you our country import jute materials and garments products, and you will provide scholarship for higher studies and primary level or secondary level and elsewhere. Thank you so much.
thank you, Advocate Fahima Nasrin.
Good morning and a very good morning to all of you. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I would like to thank Center for Governance Studies and Friedrich-Ebert-Stiftung for organizing this beautiful event. And His Excellency, Mr. Mustafa Osman Turan, Ambassador of Turkey to Bangladesh. We have been listening to you. It was such a wonderful, thoughts and thought-provoking statements you have made. Because Turkey is one of our very old and reliable partner, development partner of all sides, I would like to ask you a very specific question about democracy, human rights, and rule of law. I think this is also one of your agenda when you are here and giving us so many, helping us so many ways, economically, socially, in everywhere. I think you have known about political persecution in our country, that as I am Assistant International Affairs Secretary of BNP and very much a practicing advocate in the Supreme Court. So when we talk about political persecution, our ex-Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia, as a very a senior citizen of our country, she has been denied her right to treatment. And even according to Geneva Convention, the prisoner of war, they has the right to treatment. But here in our country—
Question, please.
Yeah. How do you see the next election, the dialogue, when there is lack of confidence between the main and major political parties, and there is so much uncertainty about the next election? So maybe you can give us some.
And
Thank you.
Advocate Nurjahan Begum Mukta, former Member of Parliament from Bangladesh Awami League.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. His Excellency Mustafa Osman Turan, Ambassador of Turkey to Bangladesh. Thank you, CGS. Thank you, Mr. Jillur Rahman, for excellent arrangement. I am Nurjahan Begum Mukta, former Member of Parliament and former Deputy Attorney General and former Prosecutor, International Crimes Tribunal, Bangladesh. Actually, Bangladesh-Turkey friendship is very, very historical, and day by day it is growing. And we believe that the diplomats in our country, they are so much mature and also honorable. Now, I have an opinion. The upcoming election is a hot topic in the whole country. We know Election Commission formed through a search committee. there was no government intervention. The election must be free and fair. We definitely want participatory election, but we can't confirm who will come to the election and who will not come to the election. Actually, it depends on that particular party and their decision. Who have burned people, I would like to say about BNP, who have burned people, committed corruption, emptied the country. They are afraid of the people now. They are also afraid of election. They have been suffering from election phobia for a long time.
So, question, please.
Yes. And the responsibility of protecting our democracy, it's not only depends on Awami League, ruling party. All parties have the responsibility. Now, I would like to ask you, please, we know there is no scope for coercion in democracy. There is no scope for coercion in democracy. And the voting of the day took place at night. I repeat, the voting of the day took place at night. It's a famous rumor created by BNP. And it's completely false and concocted. My question to you, any political party in your country, if don't want to come to national election, will you force? Because I mentioned there is no scope for coercion in democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. In the next round, I would love to take questions from my colleague from the media. So Ambassador, I'm coming to you. Ambassador, your turn.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I thought you asked for the media.
No, in the next round.
Next round. Okay. All right. Sorry. I misunderstood. Thank you. All right. I think I will. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, but 2 of them are about the elections. Yes, the question about the defense cooperation and military issues, I think you are absolutely right to say that defense cooperation should not be just about buying and selling. It should be more about joint collaboration because it's a strategic cooperation. And this is exactly what we would like to do. And we have shown our interest in the transfer of technology, joint ventures. There was also one agreement that we signed with Bangladesh's ordnance factory for the artillery shells, where one of our very high-tech companies who have their own technology for the shells, they would like to bring their technology and do a joint collaboration, just as you suggested, and that's already happening with BOF. And the second thing is what I mentioned about the patrol vessels in the shipbuilding industry. And our proposal is exactly how you described. It involves technology transfer, and our company proposed that the Coast Guard is intending to have some patrol vessels and also Navy. So our proposal is to first 1 or 2 pieces, vessels, will be manufactured in Turkey, and Bangladeshi experts, engineers will come and observe the production. And the next round will be in Khulna shipyard and Chittagong dry dock. This was our proposal. So we adopted what you suggested to establish a partnership, and our company is even willing to allow the technology to be used for civilian shipbuilding. You know, once it's done in the military area, the same technology can be used for civilian shipbuilding. And they are also happy if the ships built in Bangladesh are exported to other countries from Bangladesh. So I think we agree with you 100% on this. The second, it was not a question but a comment which had to be made, I understand. I think these issues are so emotionally charged, obviously, for obvious reasons, that it's sometimes a bit hard to get the nuance. So the nuance I was talking about was, every country has a judicial system, and every country has the right to punish its own citizens the way they decided to punish. So there's no question about this. What I was talking about was what our experience was in our own country and what it costed us. You can classify the people who are affected by the judicial decisions in whatever category you want. If you look at the result, and the result is how people perceive it, is more important than what the judicial books of your country is saying. So in our experience, capital punishment does not solve any problems. We also, the other countries who are executing their own citizens, it's their own right to do so, but we don't agree with it. I was in charge of human rights for 4 years in Vienna, in an international organization, and whenever the issue of capital punishment was discussed, I would raise my hand and say, this is our position, we don't agree with capital punishment. It does not provide any solution. Even if people are killing people, to kill them as well does not solve the problem. It sometimes aggravates the problem. So that was our opinion, and it was, as I said, shared in a very constructive way. It had no intention to impose or intervene in any of the internal matters of Bangladesh. It was just a friendly suggestion, and it was not accepted, which is fine. We can agree to disagree sometimes as close partners, and that's what I was saying. No imposition whatsoever, and you can term these processes as you like. It was just for the benefit of the people of Bangladesh. So the third question was about garments, jute. Why don't we buy more, not just some? Educational institutions. Yes. We are already providing 70 scholarships to the students from Bangladesh, full scholarships every year. And there are many also students who are going to Turkey to study with their own resources. So this is increasing trend currently. We have also signed agreements between Dhaka University and Istanbul University, and also between 2 private universities. So they will collaborate in terms of research, exchange of students and academics. So that is something ongoing. For the garments and other, you are right. Turkey is also a textile exporting country, and we have a significant portion of our population employed in that industry. So our government took a decision to raise the tariffs for the garment products coming from Bangladesh a few years back. So that kind of reduced the amount of exports going to Turkey from Bangladesh. But as I said, we are now discussing a preferential trade agreement in the Joint Economic Commission, and depending on the negotiations, because trade issues can be negotiated, you know, we can introduce some innovative solutions to tariffs and targeting certain products. And if that agreement goes through, I think our exports and imports will increase, and we will import more garments from Bangladesh. Yeah. And finally, the BNP and Awami League representatives have talked about elections. I understand your positions, and I think instead of sharing your views with me, you should sit down and talk to each other. That's what I'm suggesting. That's what I'm suggesting. Yeah.
Okay, next round. Ambassador Mohammad Shafiullah, I'm coming to you. Is it? Ambassador Shafiullah. And then give your microphone to him. Yeah, please continue.
Good morning, Ambassador. Well, it is always a pleasure to listen to you, either face to face or on the media. You have been answering all the questions from the domestic front and business. May I take you to our mutual field? You have mentioned about that Bangladesh should be more proactive in the regional cooperation. We have many regional cooperation, but then would you, in your mind, that is the SAARC you are mentioning, which is very important regional organization for the South Asia, and Bangladesh is the initiator and founder of this organization. Do you mean this? If you say something more on this. Secondly, geographically, Turkey is in a unique position, a crossroad between the Europe and Asia, very unique position in the world map. Similarly, Bangladesh also in a unique position under the shadow of two nuclear powers, India and China. A small country between the two neighbors. Now, as a diplomat here for about 3 years now, how do you feel Bangladesh foreign policy is doing in situation in a geographical position like this? Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Mohammad Azam Khan from Awami League.
Thank you very much, His Excellency MUSTAFA Osman TURAN. I don't have any question, just I have some observation. First of all, thank you very much. You have told in your speech that we have political stability, that's why we are now developing country. Thank you very much. But some colleagues complaining that we don't have any political stability, just my observation. And another thing is that election is depend on the political parties. They will go to the center and they will take a very good position, and then will take the result from the voting position. And you have told that, and thanks for that also. And another thing is that, just my observation is that our another colleague had told that about the war crime punishment, but the BNP always told that they are with the war crime punishment, but my colleague's question was difference like that, why you withdraw from the from Bangladesh in that time. That is, we understand that is a very technical question, but you given the answer very properly. And another thing is that my another colleague is told that their leader is in jail, but she also mentioned that the rules of law. So according to rules of law, she is in the jail. Thank you very much. That's only my observation. And another one thing that your country is just enrolling very good contribution for Russia and Ukraine war. So I think your country can take the very good role for the Rohingya issue for our country. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you,
Ambassador.
Barrister Sarwar Hussain. Microphone, please. No. Raise your hand. I'm coming to you, please.
No, you can give it to her first. I'll
Sure,
talk to
sure.
Thank you, Dilubha. I think nothing left for us. All questions is already asked. I'm Ishta Jahan Urmi. I work for DBC News. Ambassador, I'm very excited about your information. Orhan Pamuk is coming. He's my favorite author. I'm a simple question. You know that now we are in power crisis, or energy crisis is taking place. And upcoming days, do you have any scope to help in this context or in this situation in energy or power crisis of Bangladesh? Thank you.
Anyone from media? Yeah, Jumur Bari. Am I right?
Actually, Urmi said perfectly, nothing left. But there is some confusion, or we want to make it clear.
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Jhumur Bari. I work for Ekatu Television. There are a number, Jilur Bhai already said about the military goods, the drone and other things. Can you please elaborate the particular things and the budget and what the amount of money we already have bought from you?
So anyone
Thank
from,
you.
This is the final round, so I'm taking anyone.
Take my turn.
Please.
Okay.
Sure.
My name is Sarwar Hussain, His Excellency. I practice in Supreme Court of Bangladesh, a Lincolnshire barrister, and earlier I served in Bangladesh Army. As you said, there are political instability in Bangladesh. We have seen the political stability in Iraq, in Libya. Is it not a political stability like the quietness happens just before tsunami? Would you please explain a bit more how you see Bangladesh is having a political stability? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone from media? Is it my fault? Anyone, I'm encouraging you to, because they would love to hear from media their questions. Okay.
You're fine?
Everyone fine.
Okay.
So it's your turn.
One more.
Yeah, please. Thank you very much.
Sorry. This is Mustafa from New Age. Thank you. Would you kindly give us your observation on present political situation here? And my another question is political situation, present political situation. Yeah. How do you observe? And does it really matter in terms of relation between Bangladesh, in terms of relation between the two countries, whether the election is held in free and fair manner here? Does it matter in terms of relation between the two countries?
Thank you, Mustafa.
Thank you.
Ambassador.
My turn? Yeah. From Mustafis to Mustafa. Okay. Let's start with diplomacy, the first question. Yes, when I meant regional cooperation and possibility of Bangladesh taking more proactive initiatives, I was referring to SARC mainly, because, as you said, SARC was an important platform at the level of the leaders. They could come together and discuss regional matters. I think this is what is needed in this region more than ever, and what I think is the bilateral problems between countries should not prevent this dialogue, regional dialogue, to happen, because, for example, in our region, we have what we call Black Sea Economic Cooperation platform. There is Ukraine, Russia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, those countries. they sit down around the same table and discuss economic issues, for example. You don't always have to discuss political problems in regional meetings. You can decide to discuss less controversial issues, economic cooperation, which can benefit all the participants. This is how European integration started. As you remember, they started with economic cooperation, coal and steel, then a little bit more on customs issues. Slowly they integrated into a political union. So that's what I mean. I think SAARC can play an important role for this kind of regional cooperation. I feel that if it's revived, it will be a very good platform for this region. And Bangladesh can play an important role in this, I think. Regarding India and China and how the Bangladeshi foreign policy is doing, I think Bangladeshi foreign policy is doing very well under these circumstances. Two major blocs are competing with each other. I think for countries like Bangladesh, it's very prudent not to take sides, because by becoming even-handed towards both sides, Bangladesh is benefiting from cooperation with both sides. And I think there is also a very good reluctance and decision to refrain from military cooperation, because once you start collaborating with one side on military terms, then the other side gets really uncomfortable, especially for a country like Bangladesh, which has a large population, occupies a very strategic position in this part of the world. Siding with one side, especially in military terms, could upset this balance. So I think I see Bangladesh's foreign policy navigating successfully in these turbulent waters so far. Regarding the energy crisis, whether or not we can do anything, Turkey is not a country which has energy resources itself. We have recently discovered some natural gas in the Black Sea, but it's not yet been utilized, so we are not one of the source countries for energy, but we are a transit country. So a lot of gas and oil coming from Azerbaijan and also in the future from Turkmenistan. As you probably heard, the Russian Federation said they would like to see Turkey as a hub, energy hub, for also exporting oil and gas to Europe. There is a pipeline called Turkish Stream, and its capacity can be increased for oil and gas exports. But regarding Bangladesh, I don't see any possibility right now to be helpful. But if I think I heard that there is a possibility for some countries to buy Russian oil and gas, especially LNG is in big demand. So if that is possible for Bangladesh and some formula can be found, and if we need to play a role in this as a transit country, of course we would be more than happy to do so, but as of now there is no concrete plan for this. The next question was about the numbers of our defense cooperation. Unfortunately, I will have to disappoint you on this question, because I cannot disclose numbers. I mean, Zillur mentioned some numbers, but I think you took them from open sources. I cannot confirm or deny those numbers. But I can only say that it's substantial. It's a substantial cooperation. It's not like a few million, like $1 or $2 million. It's like substantial to make it a strategic cooperation. I cannot mention the specific items. You know, how many drones you bought, how much it costs. These are not, I mean, in my authority to be able to disclose. You can ask the question to the government of Bangladesh if you want. The political stability, I mean, when I said political stability, it means that I think in the past, I mean, decade, Bangladesh, this is not my opinion, by the way, it's the opinion of the international community that the economic progress that is happening in Bangladesh is based on political stability. Yes, we acknowledge that there are issues like regarding the freedom of expression, you know, some of the restrictions that exist in Bangladesh, and people sometimes have a hard time to express their opinion, and you know, there's a criticism of the Digital Security Act or some of the other legal measures, but you know, these problems, these kind of problems happen everywhere, including my own country. Like, my country is also criticized for such issues, and I think as long as the government is willing to collaborate and address these issues, and they provide some avenue for you know, expression of opinions, then these tensions will be much less. What I meant by political stability is that there is no major disturbance in the country, as we can see, to harm the economic growth. We wish very well to Bangladesh for having a more inclusive, more free society, and my country also needs to have maybe more inclusive, more free society. So it's a journey for all of us to really make progress based on the political struggles. You know, this is a political struggle. Even in Europe, for many years there were many problems. The democracy is is not easy to attain, and this is sometimes what our Western colleagues are you know, forgetting, that you know, they have achieved this progress after many struggles and problems that they had to face, right? So we are in the same process all together, and I think Bangladesh will is on the right path. Hope the criticisms expressed by opposition can find more avenue to be heard, and that depends on the political forces and the people of Bangladesh. The political situation in Bangladesh, at the moment, we see that the government is making an effort to have free and fair elections. We are hoping that they will live up to the expectations of the people of Bangladesh, all people of Bangladesh, not just their own supporters, right? And if you know, Bangladesh can organize the elections in line with the expectations of its own people, I think the next 5 to 10 years will be much brighter. And whether or not our bilateral relations will be affected by the results of the elections, I would say no, because you know, what happens in Bangladesh is something that Bangladeshi people have to deal with. You know, our bilateral relations, our partnership, does not depend on this government or that government or what happens in the elections. It's a long-term, solid collaboration, partnership. So we will always be with the people of Bangladesh and support them in their good times and in their bad times. Thank you.
So according to our programs, I think it's lunch time, so we have to stop here. Thank you so much, Ambassador Mustafa Osman Turan, for your valuable presence. I believe this indeed was a fruitful discussions. I strongly believe that the Turkey-Bangladesh relationship, which is gradually developing day by day, will sustain for years to come, as you mentioned. And I hope together we can achieve greater things which will ultimately benefit both of our countries. Please join me to thank my friend with applaud. Thank you. It was great.